Okay, so the main thing that you need to understand is how to set up that merge back adjust policy for your data feed. Okay, so you just simply go to Tools, Options, and we'll come back and go through some of these other options here, but you want to immediately go to Options, Data, and then Get Data from the Server. This needs to always be checked. And your merge policy, if you want to do like I was just discussing, to where you could have both back adjusted and non-back adjusted data on two different charts, then you need this merge policy set to merge back adjusted. Okay, I believe by default it's going to be set to merge back adjusted anyway. But if you want to have your continuous contracts non-back adjusted, you make sure that box is unchecked, like we just went through with the data feed video. And that's only going to work with IQ feed or Kinetic. And then here, as you're running the front month, you know, the current contract, the one that you can actually trade, remember you can't trade the continuous contract, and I'll show you that in a moment, but as it's splicing together the front month with the previous month and the months before that, if this is set to merge back adjust, then it's going to backfill and get rid of those gaps, okay? And here with the real-time data, there's no need to save chart data as historical. I know some people, I've been on a lot of people's computers where they have this checked and they also record for the market replay. If you're doing that, that's taking up a lot of your computer's resources to save that data, you know, store it, and it's really just not necessary. You don't need to do this. As a matter of fact, you need that cache to be, the smaller these files are, the better, the faster your computer is going to write them and add to them and edit them. And you really do not need these checked. Okay, and when it comes to resetting the database or resetting instruments or account groups, here you can, we'll come back to this. This really isn't anything you need to mess with. Sometimes people will, when they, and I'll show you this in the next video where we're going to start adding instruments and editing the instruments. If you happen to click on something wrong in there, you make some changes, and the next thing you know, the instrument that you've edited, you can no longer open charts with that instrument. You can simply come back to here, and that's Tools, Options, Data, and reset the instrument here. But of course, you have to be disconnected from data to do that. And if you have some sort of database error, you can repair the database. Repairing it will still keep your track record, but resetting it will totally eliminate all of the trades that you have accrued on that instance of NinjaTrader. Okay, obviously that's not going to affect your, you know, your broker's statement or, you know, your record as far as the brokerage is concerned if we're talking about a live account. But here on that environment of Ninja, if you reset the database, then that SDF file, that SQL database file is going to be completely reset to factory default, okay? So this is essentially what it needs to look like if you're using IQ Feed or Kinetic and you want to be able to access both back adjusted and non-back adjusted data at the same time. Now, if you're using CQG or Rhythmic or Continuum, then you really don't have access to live data for the continuous contracts. So which one should you use? Merge back adjusted or merge non-back adjusted? I would say merge non-back adjusted, because I find that to be much more accurate on the higher time frames when it comes to the market geometry. Okay. I've done a lot of tests on the data feeds, and when it comes to the CQG, Rhythmic, and Continuum, the only real issues that you'll have will be typically right around the closing and the opening. Sometimes you'll get an extra bar thrown in there for some reason. You'll get like an extra 5-minute bar that will have this massive amount of volume or, you know, very low volume. And those kinds of things tend to mess up the relative volume indicator and the relative density. We made some adjustments to be able to handle that, but still having that extra bar in there For one thing, it's just, it's inaccurate, but it can cause certain issues in different indicators. So especially when it comes to session templates and things like that. And a lot of times your tick data won't line up exactly. So Kinetic and IQ feed, they tend to have, very pure, very accurate, unfiltered data. And it's very fast. I mean, as far as the test that I did with speed, IQ feed came in just, we're talking thousandths of a second faster. And then Kinetic was right behind it, and then CQG and Rhythmic and Continuum were pretty close. I mean, so they're all pretty close. It just seems like IQ feed and Kinetic have much more accurate data. And when it comes to bid-ask data, IQ feed is definitely the best. So, all right, let's come back here and go through some more of these options here. When it comes to doing commissions, I'm going to show you how to do that for each contract. Okay, because not every brokerage is set up like Ninja to where, what do we get? I think we get a $1.53 for every round turn, something like that. So to come in here and set up, all the same price for futures with, let's see here, with the Kinetic for me, or Continuum for some of you, or CQG for some of you, some of the others. If it's not the same exact price for every single contract, then you don't need to set this up right here. You need to set it up in the instrument manager, and I'll show you how to do that. But here, the log tab, the log is right here. If you can see my cursor, let me turn on my pointer here. So the log tab is right there on the Ninja Control Center, and this is going to tell you when you have some errors in any indicator. Now, if it's white or orange, then it's just information, essentially. A real error is going to be yellow unless you come in here and change it. I don't know why you would want to change it, but a true error is yellow, so there's really no need to write in if you get something that's orange or white. It's just telling you that something has happened. And all of your alerts that you set anywhere on any workspace or any chart with any indicator, those will come in as lime, okay? Now when it comes to the simulator, you can set this up how you want it. As far as what I would tell those of you in the trading room to do, I would say start with a $10,000 account. So that way you can get up to, let's say, 15 with one contract, and then start trading 2 contracts once you get above 15, okay? So you really don't want to use more than 1 contract per 7,500 bucks. Typically, when it comes to my own personal live trading, I don't use more than 1 contract per about 8,000 or 9,000 bucks, depending on which instrument I'm trading. If it's the 6E, the euro currency, then I may do 2 per 10,000. Okay, so you can set this to 10,000 and just click OK, and then it'll be saved here. These are your different accounts here, your replay, your sim, your backtest. I think I created that backtest actually. You can reset all of these, so I can clear the history for the sim account. Do that now, and now it is set to 10,000 bucks. Strategies, we don't need to go over any of that. Here, if you want to apply the commissions to the P&L calculations, you need to check that box right there. Okay, if you want to use order entry hotkeys, you need to check this box. I'm going to show you how to set those up as well. But here, do you wish to continue? Yes. And now I'll go in a separate video here and show you how to set up these hotkeys for the order entry and also for a couple of other different things. Show the tools tips. This will show a little pop-up, kind of little pop-up message next to the cursor once you start hovering over the tool strip of the charts, and tell you what each of those little tools does at the top of the tool strip there. RSS feed, that's nothing important here. This is for setting up The email alerts that we do with Trade the Plan are all set up using a separate server. So Ninja's server, I've found, is not very reliable. It's about 50-50. Some people get it working, but most people do not get it working. So I believe in order to get that thing to work, enable SMTP server. Yep, you got to check that guy right there, the ATI, if you want to get the emails working. I think that's why a lot of people may not get them working very well. But anyway, that's not really necessary for the things that we do because we're not even using Ninja server at all. Now, to save all of that, of course, you need to hit or left click OK and not cancel. And now what I want to do is go into some of the other sections here for adding third-party licensing, such as for a couple of the indicators that we offer. I think the autofib retracement that's free on the site, you would have to send in your custom machine ID for that. So our vendor name is Trade the capital T, capital T, capital P, Trade the Plan, no dashes and no spaces. And then your user defined ID would just be your first and last name. And then you click submit, and then you copy this, use Control C to copy, and then you email that in. Okay, so that's the third-party licensing. I'll come back and go over the help guide in a separate video. Obviously, about will tell you which instance of Ninja that you have, 7.0.1000.33, and that's a multi-broker version that I have. If you need to flatten everything, if you're in a couple of different positions, you can't get to the charts fast enough, you can click on this to flatten everything. Global simulation mode. Now, if you have a live account with Ninja and you have some other data feed than Continuum, then you have to set up a Continuum data feed and then your other data feed that you're actually using for data. So I'm using Kinetic for data to populate the charts, and then I'm using Continuum here for the order routing. Okay, so you'll have to set up both of these data feeds. Now, when you're starting Ninja up and you're getting ready to start trading, you want to start trading live, you connect to the data feed that you're actually using to populate the charts, in this case Kinetic, you connect to that one first. So I'm going to connect to Kinetic first to populate the charts, and then once I'm ready to start trading, then I connect to Continuum, which is purely solely for the purpose of order routing. That's just connecting me to the brokerage and Globex, and then I'm able to start routing orders to the exchange. Okay, so that's the order of that. I don't connect to Continuum first for the order routing and then Kinetic to populate my charts. I connect to Kinetic first to populate my charts. I have live incoming data, and then I connect to Continuum for the order routing, and that's purely for the purposes of live trading. And in order to then come back and be able to trade live, I have to go to File and uncheck Global Simulation Mode. So once that is unchecked, then I'll be able to switch between accounts. Let me just show you that quickly. I'm going to go to File, New, Chart, and I'm going to just load up a basic 5-minute chart here with no chart template. And there we go. So here is a 5-minute live chart, okay, of the euro. And in order to show the chart trader, I click on this button here. We'll come into this in more detail here shortly, but you see here, all right, when global simulation mode is checked, see it's checked now? That means that I cannot change out of my sim account here. Okay, but once I uncheck it, then I can come and select my live account. See? And then if I go and unselect it, if I select it again, it automatically will change to the sim account so that I can't access that live account accidentally. You see? So if for some reason you're trying to access your live account and you can't, that's why.